Maximilian Riedel here once again. Today we are going to talk about a wine region which might be new to most of the viewers. We're going to talk about wines from Croatia. Croatia, small but nice, beautiful, important country in Europe, and we're going to talk about a very particular grape variety which is very unique, which is Malvazija Istriana from Croatia. And today I will be joined by my local partner, the company Miva, but I also will be joined by a local winemaker, by a winery that is producing wine in Croatia since 1904. It is Franko Koslovic himself will be joining us. So give me just a minute. I will try to connect with my friends. No issue. We are in Europe, talking with Europe, and we're going to talk about wines from Croatia. Here we are. Hello. Last preparations. I have here Franco and I have Tomislav. Gentlemen, good to see you. Very good to see you.
Hello to you, Maximilian, and to the rest of the world, and for everybody who is watching us. I will just move this a little bit.
Yes, adjust everything, become and get comfortable. We're going to have a nice session talking about Malvazija, a white wine fruit, a white wine grape, in this case from Croatia. And we have Tomislav representing our partner, Miva in Croatia. And we have Franco. Hello, Franco, the local wine producer. Very nice to have you gentlemen here today. So how is the situation? How is Croatia? How is the weather? I can see you have a little tan.
Yeah. The weather here is very sunny. It's pretty warm. These last 2 or 3 days, it's 25 degrees plus. So it's very nice. Situation in Croatia is good. We are waiting for our first tourists. First tourist actually already came, but Corona status is okay in Croatia. Not so many cases. So we are hoping to get as much as possible out of this season.
Wonderful. Happy to hear. Franco, how is the vineyard? How is the fruit coming along?
We spent a lot of time in the last months in the vineyard, and it's never that good like this year because we invest some people more from the winery during the lockdown, work in the vineyard, and after that also good weather comes and the grape is healthy and everything is perfectly under control. We are satisfied about the vineyard.
Very happy to hear. Very happy to hear. Today we're going to taste last year's vintage 2019. We're going to taste 2018. So far, the season 2020 is good for you. The vineyard is healthy. So you had no cold, you had no freeze, you had no hail. Everything is fine.
Yeah, till this moment everything passed perfect, and we are waiting for a good harvest, and we are always excited about the next harvest. It's like waiting a baby. It's something that you are spending a lot of time. You are waiting for a whole year, and of course you never know till the last day. Since you don't have your grape in the cellar, it's not concluded. You have to be very. It's not sure till the last moment.
Absolutely. We're dealing with nature, so of course the last minute counts from the beginning to the end. Franco, we talked briefly before, so we're going to talk about Malvazija Istriana. Tell us a little bit about this fruit that represents Croatia. It's obviously also available in other countries such as Italy, but this particular fruit comes from Croatia. I believe it represents close to 80% of your production. What makes Malvazija so special?
It is part of a big family. Just to don't confuse with the other Malvazijas from the Mediterranean. A lot of different grapes with the same name. Coming from the Peloponnesos to Italy, Spain, I don't know, a lot of varieties with different DNA, but taking the same name. Malvazija Istriana is different. DNA researchers says that it's a variety, nothing to do with Malvazija Lipari, Cagliari, I don't know, Malvazias from Canarie. And this is what is for us very, very important. We have a variety that is perfectly fitted with our region. The name is Malvazija Istriana, and we are in Istria, and it's very nice when you have in your region a grape and a wine that is especially yours.
Absolutely.
You can communicate it in a very particular way because you are the owner of the variety.
Fantastic. So whoever has not tasted Malvazija Istriana, and we are talking to people around the world. I see right now people from Brazil. I see people from England, people from Singapore, from all over the world listening to us. So where could people for the first time taste, Franco, this Malvazija Istriana? Are you at ProWine? Are you at Vinexpo? Where can we find it?
We make a lot of effort in the last 2 decades to show our wines through, for first in Europe, our first goal was to present Malvazijas in London, just because of the important place for the market, very important for the critics and the very important restaurants. And we were surprised in the very beginning because everything was very confused, just because of the name of Malvazija, just because of Croatia, that it's not a very known country, and especially not known like a wine producer country. And we spent a lot of years just to explain that we have our variety, that we are representing a region, and that the wine is modern way produced, that it's a very very nice light, that it's a variety that's easy understandable.
It is
also important
amazing
for us, because Malvazija is a variety that you can very easy start to drink. There is no problem just to say, nobody can say, oh, I don't like this this style of wine because it's too aromatic, too much freshness, too, I don't know, something that it's like some particular wines.
Yeah,
that we are very lucky that we have this variety.
This variety. And Franco, you could have said, we don't export. If you want to taste the wine, you have to come to Croatia.
The best export is for us to serve our wines to the
local
tourists, the people coming, visiting Istria, visiting our winery. And this is, of course, the best way also to understand the terroir, to understand the history, to come here and enjoy the local food and the local wines. This is a mission. You have to travel. This is the best reason to make somebody to travel.
Yes. So let's not forget that where Croatia is located. When I came, Tomislav, to attend the final workshop where we created a glass for this wonderful grape variety for Malvazija Istriana, we were flying in from Italy. And when you fly in from Venice, Italy, it's very nearby. So Croatia is by the Adriatic Sea. So obviously you have a sea climate, you have a wonderful breeze. And I guess the reason why this wine is so perfectly located besides terroir and climate, of course, is the food. So we're talking here this kind of typical ocean life, lots of seafood, lots of fresh fruits, where this white wine and this white wine grape variety is the perfect match. So we're going to taste today the wines of Ranko Koslovic, and we're going to taste different wines from him. We will do this together. It will be very exciting. Before we sat down today and we go and went live, I did a little tasting also within the family. And what I really love about this particular grape variety, and of course, Franco, your wines, is next to the fruit, amazing minerality. And here, before we start tasting the wine, I would like to introduce one more time Tomislav, who was very instrumental in bringing us together, because about 10 years ago, he had a vision. He had a vision with a dear friend of ours, Cornel Dura, to create a specific glass, a specific shape within the Riedel collection to support and to show to the world the beauty of Malvazija. Tomislav, tell us a little bit about the story, how we came about this glass.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was my vision. It was we are Riedel importers for the last 15 and more than 15 years. So from the beginning, there were talks like we know that Riedel have varietal specific glasses for all the best grape varieties in the world. So we were talking, oh, it would be great if Riedel could produce a glass for our country. So winemakers were interested in that. We were interested in that. But yeah, I was the first that came to ask Mr. Riedel about it. It was in 2011. It was my first distributor meeting. I came there. I got the assignment from chief editor of one Croatian wine magazine. He told me, please see if you can make an interview with Mr. George Riedel, so we would publish it. So here's a little story I would like to tell. It will be short. So I came to your father, to George. I asked him in the middle of the workshops, Mr. Riedel, is it possible to get a short interview for Croatian market? He told me yes, no problem, but let's do it afterwards. So after the workshops, I came again and I asked him again, can we do it now? He said, no, we'll do it later. So the dinner was already starting after all day workshops. I met him on the entrance and I said, okay, we'll do it next time. I see you're busy now. People are waiting for you for the speech. He said, no, I promised you an interview. I will give you an interview. So this is where I realized how big person George is, because he kept his promise. And we had a short talk. I asked him a few questions, and one of the questions was, is there a chance that Riedel will produce a glass for Croatian market? And the answer was no. There is no chance, because this market is too small. This grape variety is not so well known in the world. So we are not interested in doing it, at least not on our initiative. But what we could do is to see which of the existing glasses would fit the best for your wines.
Yeah.
But all I remembered from that interview was not on our initiative. So we made initiative together with the winemakers, and together with we had a strong support and strong help from Cornel Dura, your RTM and our big friend, and he was very in love in Croatia and Croatian wines. He was also very often here. So he helped us in convincing George to start this project. And a year later, we started it. Cornel is not with us anymore, but there's a big part of him in every Malvazija glass that we have today. So yeah, the next year the project started. We had the first workshop in Kufstein in May 2012. 10 of us from Croatia came. It was 3 of us from Miva. Yeah, all these pictures, and some of the winemakers, including Franco, Satošević and Moreno Koronika, some journalists, some sommeliers. So we came there. and when I saw 27 glasses on one table waiting for us, I said, this is gonna be a good day. So we had 5 wines, and round by round we were moving.
So
we were
Thomas,
voting and
Thomas,
moving.
let me just interrupt for a second. So just our viewers, our listeners understand. So the goal was with the winemakers of Croatia, including Franco, who brought all their Malvazija. Good, there's different vintages. Everybody has a little bit of a different signature when making the wine. And the goal was together as a group with the producers to see if maybe the Riesling glass from Riedel or the Chardonnay glass or any other glass could suit the wine, so we don't have to go through the process of creating a new glass. And everybody was slurping, everybody was sipping. So we heard 27 different shaped glasses, existing shape, because we didn't know in which direction the journey goes. And it's very important to understand for everybody who listens, it's not the Riedel family who says, this is now the shape for Malvazija. It is the wine producers, the local winemakers, including Franco, who said, there is a shape that suits this fruit. And we together, obviously, back and forth, developed the glass. And I believe this is the final result.
Yeah, and I have to say we are very happy with the result. Because other than being functional, which is the main goal of the glass, because it has to enhance the quality of the grape, we are very happy that it's also very elegant and very beautiful. So this was not the first goal, but it's good that it's turned out to be this way.
Always good. It helps when the glass is beautiful, when the glass is balanced. But you know, for us, the wine glass company, most important, and this is what I would like to one more time hear from you, Franco, and also from you, Tomislav. You said the glass works. So we have now from Koslovic, Malvazija, 2019 in our glass. Good, beautiful color, right temperature. And when you say the glass works, what is the job of the glass? What is it going to promote? Franco, explain it to us. What do you smell when you put your nose in there?
Every glass has to fit, like say, the best of what you are tasting, what is in. And here we have to bring out the freshness, the whole fruit, and to keep down, if it's possible, the alcohol, the something that it's sometimes some Malvazias are also pretty strong in the body, pretty warm, and the goal was, of course, to take out the varietal nose, the fruit. We have a nice apple, a nice peach, and sometimes some hints of Sauvignon. Some our Malvazias in the first year, like now the 2019, when it's very young, is possible to remind you a Sauvignon Blanc, and this is also the reason we are very close with the glasses to the Sauvignon Blanc, and the glass works, and we are using also in the cellar for our tastings when we have 20 different glasses, 20 different samples of Malvazija. We have to decide some mix or something to find out in the process of the production of wine. It's very important also to have a very strong tool. You need to extract something that is hidden somewhere. You need to discover it. I have to discover it because I'm producing. I'm going to bottle something that if it is wrong, it will be a big problem on the market in the future. And maybe it's a bigger problem than having a wrong glass on the table in the restaurant, because at the end, of course, we have to enjoy the wine, and this is the mission. The guest, the drinker, has to have the wine in the absolutely best shape, in the best way, the best temperature, the best food, the company, everything has, you have to invest in all the surrounding. But I'm very focused on the production, and I absolutely use these glasses on everyday base. We have these glasses in the cellar, just here and there, falling down, and they're not.
Very nice to hear. So Franco, I like the way you described it. You called it a tool, an instrument that allows you to be even more precise on not only communicating the wine, meaning selling the wine, but also when you make the wine in the cellar. So this is how deep implemented this tool, this wine glass is, that helps you to not only find the beauty in Malvazija, but maybe also some mistakes during production process that you could eliminate because of having the proper glass. It's amazing how beautiful the wine is in the glass. Good. Sunshine. Absolutely. Huh? It is summertime. Very light on the nose. We're having a wine that has right now 13% alcohol, which is quite heavy, but you don't get the heat. You don't get this kind of alcohol nose in this glass, even though it is a small glass with a narrow rim diameter. You don't get the heat, which is for sure one of the tasks when creating the glass, which was a focus. But you have this unbelievable structure on the nose, which is, besides fruit, beautiful minerality. And I wish that our viewers could have the wine on their palate at the right temperature, which is definitely chilled. I would like to drink it like Sauvignon Blanc, more on a cooler side. And what you have with this wine is this fruit-driven but still dry minerality in the aftertaste, which is, for me, unique and so different than Sauvignon Blanc. This is where I see the difference, is the aftertaste.
Yeah, I would say also it's not that aromatic as Sauvignon Blanc is, but it's a similar variety. And for me, it's the perfect summer wine, but also well paired with some food because it has the body, as you mentioned, it has 13% of alcohol. So it's you can use it in many occasions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then you have brought with you another bottle. It's the same wine, but a different vintage, which is vintage 2018. You see, I try to keep them chilled whilst we speak. Want to make sure that when we serve the wine, it's always at the proper temperature, not only in the right glass. This, by the way, is an exercise that people can also do at home, is to have the same wine, different vintages, to learn if there's a difference. We know that some vintages create up to 100-point wines, but the same wine in a different vintage might create only 85% or 85 points. So what is the difference, Tomislav? You as a consumer,
I'm actually very glad that we have this opportunity to do this tasting here in front of whole world and in front of our Croatian viewers, because in Croatia, people think that whenever fresh Malvazija came out, for example, when somebody releases Harvest 2019, 2018, it's bad. The same day it becomes bad, the restaurants are returning it. We want the fresh one, we want the fresh one, which is absolutely wrong. And we can see it now.
Wow.
You can taste 2018. At this point, for me, it's better than 2019. 2019 is fresh, it's light, it's joyful. But 2018, it's ripe, it's more serious wine for me. I don't know what Franco says, but this is something that we are dealing with in Croatia. I believe in other countries it's the same.
Of course.
Malvazija is the grape that made like this fresh. It can last not for long, but this not for long doesn't mean it's last 1 year. It can last 3-4 years, no problem, I would say.
Franco, what do you think?
It's absolutely true, because we are just in the last year discovering the potential of Malvazija, of our Malvazija Istriana. Everybody of us, the drinkers and the producers, all together, the sommeliers, was the meaning was that Malvazija has to be just consumed like a fresh, young, first year wine, summer, and forget it. Now we are realizing step by step, maybe because of better technology, maybe because of some better approach in all the process coming from the vineyard. Absolutely, we are going a little bit back in the vineyard to work harder in the vineyard, and we have some grapes that are absolutely better in the next year, in the second year. There are also the same, speaking about the same way of winemaking, the same technology. There is nothing different done to have a different wine, different technology for aging.
Yeah.
We are speaking about something that it's straight, that it's clean, that it's fresh, but it has it is deeper, it is smoother, it's larger in the mouth, it's more elegant on the nose. It's not only fresh. You have very nice, clean, absolutely useful in gastronomy. It's much better. The second, now the 18. It's much better for pairings in the good gastronomy than the first one, because the first one is very fruity. It's very fresh on the nose. It's very funny. You have a nice fresh summer, but it's better if you have something that gives you more dimensions, more informations on your palate. It's something that works better.
I agree with you, Franco. Of course, now it's summertime. People also think about rosé, maybe rosé from the Provence. I remember living in New York for 15 years, and some shops just couldn't sell the vintage off. So next year you had still the old and the old and the old. But of course, it's also a question of the quality in production, a quality of storage, in general, the quality of the fruit. So, Franco, what are you doing as a winemaker? Are you holding back some of the wines to release them the following year? Because I know that Croatia lives of tourism. And of course, the goal must be to sell off the vintage. So how do you support it as a winemaker? Are you holding back for a year and then you release it? Or how do you influence this kind of excitement? Because I must agree with you. I have both wines. It's the same wine, two different vintages. Sadly now maybe 1 or 2 degrees different temperature, understood, in the same glass. But the structure, the signature of Malvazija probably is more highlighted in the 2018 versus the 2019. 2019, easy to drink, close your eyes, off you go. Always you will like the wine. 2018, very interesting. Good. So it is structure, much more minerality. Very interesting to learn this. So, Franco, the question was, what are you doing as a winemaker? Are you holding it back? What are you teaching?
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of wines in our storage, just holding for waiting for some years. Now we are starting to invest in our followers, in our drinkers, to just put more attention on this point. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's our mission. We have to start to speak about this. The sommeliers, of course, but it is something that comes from the producer. It has to come from the producer, from the best restaurants, from the best sommeliers. We have to teach people which is the best way to use our products. Sometimes you have to wait. years ago, we started with this label, the Santa Lucia.
Yep.
It's a single vineyard. Now is approximately 60 years old vineyard.
Wow.
There we have a very low production per plant. It's a very nice location facing the sea, 150 meters on the sea, but a nice part of the hill, just 8 kilometers far from our winery. And from there, we have always a very special grape. And from this plot, we use to keep the wine for some years. And we are sometimes very happy when we have, after 10 years, some bottles that are in perfectly good shape, in perfectly
understood.
A good wine after 10 years, a white wine that has 10 and more years. It's not easy. It's something that you need to have a very good variety, a very good preparation, and after that you can wait for these years and expect that you will have something that it's great.
Understood, of course. So very interesting that we're learning today. Malvazija Istriana, you can also age it. We are just experiencing the same wine, two different vintages, 2019 and 2018. I think the three of us would agree that the 2018 is even more interesting. Both wines are delicious, ready to drink, of course, but with a year of aging, the wine improves. So this, I think, is some very, very good news. Before we progress to your Santa Lucia, what I would suggest now, and maybe people want to do this tonight when they open a bottle of wine, hopefully they have Malvazija Istriana at home. If not, any other local wine like an Austrian Riesling or Grüner Veltliner would do the job too. What I suggest is take two different shaped glasses. Good. Don't compare a red wine glass with a white wine glass. That's always unfair because they're not meant to work against each other. In white wine, we don't find the tannin, the tannins. So therefore, a red wine glass is always different than a white wine glass. But for example, I have a classic, which is our Riesling glass from the Sommelier collection versus the new Malvazija glass, Malvazija Istriana, which we produced in particular for your wine, for your grape variety. And which wine did you pour? I'm pouring 2018 into both glasses. And this is something that people can do at home. Just take two different shaped glasses, make sure the wine has the same temperature, and experience, see, smell, taste, experience the difference what a glass can do. In our case, my friends, we have Malvazija in the right glass and in the Riesling glass, which maybe even looks very similar, but there's a great difference. On the nose already it starts. Tommy, maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, this is where I stopped about this first workshop. So we ended up out of 27 to two shapes. And out of these two shapes, George created 6 different prototypes to continue. And one of those two shapes was exactly this one, the Riesling glass that we are having today. So this one was the best among these 27 existing glasses.
Yeah.
It's amazing how different it is still between this and this one. This one is more fruit, more minerality, which is one of the main characteristics of this grape, of this variety. So big difference. I always tell on the tastings, if you see this glass on your table when you come to the restaurant, you would say nothing is wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with it. But once that you compare it with the proper glass, then you see that it can get even better. And this is what is amazing about all this varietal specific story is that even a smaller changes on the glasses can make a big difference on the final taste that you have in your mouth.
And in this case, I must be honest with you, the biggest difference I find in the aftertaste. Good. So when the wine meets your palate, feels different, but then when you swallow it, or professionals would spit it, for example, you notice that in the Riesling glass, the Malvazija becomes bitter, becomes much more bitter on the aftertaste, and it dries out your mouth. You have a little bit more focus on the alcohol versus in the glass that we have together, Franco, developed for your fruit. It's seamless from the beginning to the end. What you smell is what you taste, and what you taste also creates this beautiful aftertaste. So there is absolutely no interruption in the communication of the wine to our senses. And this is actually the goal that we achieved together. We would not do it without the inspiration of Miva. We would not do it without the support of the winemakers, because at the end, when we drink water, believe it or not, it would also make a slight difference, but on the nose, obviously, water doesn't smell. Beautiful. So you have a fan in me, Franco, in supporting you and your cause to maybe put a little age on your Malvazija Istriana. For the first time, such an eye-opening experience for me, because we would know this from Bordeaux, we would know this from any other white or red fruit, that with time, with age, the wine obviously accelerates. Not too long, it should not go bad. But in this case, a year or two definitely makes a difference. Franco, question. Would it be possible to decant Malvazija Istriana? Is this something with a young wine 2019 we can do to get a similar result as we have in the 2018? Or would you say, don't decant it? There is no improvement, it gets worse? Or what do you think about it?
To be honest, I need to try. I need to make an experiment, because we don't use to decant the young Malvazija, to give a little bit more of oxygen can improve, maybe, but it is always an interesting thing to do, and it has to be an experiment.
I'm doing it right now, Franco. I'm doing it for you. Good. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And
we have to believe you. We don't.
Wow, what a difference it makes. Now, please try it, Franco, because I think I'm a big ambassador and a believer that anything that is stuck in a bottle, in a container, needs to be opened up, needs to be aerated. Sometimes we don't give it enough time. Good wine needs time. And then at the last sip is always the best. We think, why and how is this possible? Well, it could be that it was exposed to oxygen the longest. It had time to open up. So definitely something to consider. And at the end, when we decant wine, we celebrate wine. Good. We prepare our senses. We prepare our friends. We're doing something unique to the wine. And actually, I believe that also Malvazija could benefit. We're changing the gear. We're tasting now the next wine, the third wine. And you mentioned it already. That's a single vineyard, Santa Lucia. And Tomislav, I say Malvazija. How do you say?
Malvazija.
Malvazija. So I apologize. Good. I don't know why I say Malvazija.
Very good.
Malvazija is the right pronunciation. And now this is Franco 2016.
We have a little bit different label, just to show. Mine is the new label that is just now on the market, and you have probably samples that goes some.
Yeah, it's the same vintage, but the wine is not released yet. So this one is premiere.
I have the limited edition, guys.
Yeah,
Good.
very limited. Have a very special label. Maybe also the year is just with the pencil.
It's handwritten. It's handwritten. Yes.
So we have an autograph from the producer. So
yeah, I will put it into my cabinet, special storage.
Now Franco will not mention it because he's a modest guy, but this wine, Santa Lucia from the year 2001, was declared as the best white wine in the world in 2011 on IVC in London in a category of 10
Wow.
and plus years white wines. So it was
Congratulations.
the best wine
Wow.
in the world, 10 and more years old.
And it came from Croatia, a country that has 4 million inhabitants. Good, beautiful country, similar to Austria. Tourism dominates, and there you produce these amazing wines. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Franco, tell us, on the nose, this is now, we had Malvazija 2019, 2018, 2016 in the glass now. We also see a little difference in the color. And the nose, boom, completely different.
Yeah, here we have our very best grape, and also we don't make this label in the bad vintages. We are just saving this label for only the best. And here we have also the technology a little bit different. 4 to 5 days of maceration on the skins, low temperature, 12 to 15 degrees.
Yeah.
After that, fermentation and aging in big oak cask. We have some casks from Garbelotto made from 50% of Slavonian oak and 50% French oak.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be fair, not to prefer some
Understood. Yeah.
Some special to not offend some producers of oak. We decided to make this style after some experience with Malvazija in barrique that gives some very strong oak on the nose, very strong oak on the mouth. After some years, we decided to make our Santa Lucia in a big oak cask, 5,000 liters,
Mm-hmm.
and aging is for 12 months in oak, and after that some months in stainless steel, and after that for more than a year in the bottle. And now is the first, now we are starting to release the vintage 16.
Wow.
We have to wait. I was also surprised with the 16. I was expected earlier, maybe 1 year ago, and it was not good. It was very fresh. It was not enough ripe, not enough round, and it has just to pass this process to find what is the right word to say, the finding the wine in the bottle, the last
To mature.
Yeah.
to mature in the bottle, the right fine tuning.
And Franco, how many bottles of this Santa Lucia do you produce?
I have around 10,000 bottles only.
So it's a small production.
Yeah.
It's a very much looked after wine. We heard that it was once the best white wine in the world, declared, as Tomislav told us. So it's a great honor to taste this wine. How can people buy the wine? Is this something that you would sell or via the internet? How can our listeners from around the world get access to the wine? Or do they have to visit you in Croatia?
Yeah, this is the best and the easiest way. But we are also taking some reservations for this wine. We have a waiting list for.
Waiting list, very nice.
And Miva has also.
It is available at miva.com.hr. Thank you.
That's it. And when I buy this vintage Franco 2016, how much longer can it be in my cellar? Or is this now something again that I should drink right away?
you can start to drink it now, from now to, I don't know exactly, maybe 5 years. I think 5 years for sure.
Yeah.
But after that, you have to check.
Yeah,
It's
of
always
course.
you need always to follow to control your
Always like this.
your
This is what people forget when they buy a case of wine, no matter where it's from, no matter what grape variety. They put it away and they forget about it. Wine has dormant phases and then it shines again. So wines, when you buy them, it would be best always in cases of 6 or 12. And there's a good reason for this. It's not that you then open the case and drink it all at once. It is a progress. And you will see that one day you love the wine, maybe the other day not so much. And you would suggest the same with your Malvazija, Istriana, Santa Lucia, which, by the way, on the nose is a symphony. Good. This is something in a blind tasting. I think nobody would say Malvazija from Croatia. Nobody. This is has more flintstoniness in it, has more terroir, more minerality, something more that I would expect maybe in a Loire wine, but definitely not in a wine from Croatia. Why? Because I'm not exposed to wines from Croatia as much, so I don't have the expertise. So in a blind tasting, I would be very much on the French side and not on the Croatian side.
And this is because of my approach. I like very much the way the producers in Burgundy are shaping their wines. This soft touch of wood, a lot of minerality, a lot of extract. The body of the wine has to be pretty concentrated, very clean, and leave just a little bit to the wood. We have to age it in the wood, but it's not the most important thing.
Yeah,
it has to be something that it's just by side. It's something that enter in the process, but it's not the most important. I want to have the variety. I want to give you to feel the Malvazija, the region, the Istria. You need to see our sunshine in Istria. You need to see our land. We are situated on the very nice hills with white soil, with the sandstone, and this is something that gives this minerality, that gives this aroma, and this is unique. You need to have this. It's pretty crazy to kill a good wine with some wood just because somebody says that this is the best way for something, or to make some I'm not also the meaning that some extra long maceration and some oxidation has to be in the wine. I think that we have to feel the fruit. Wine is something that comes from the fruit. The grape is a fruit, and we have the definition is something that is that comes from the fermentation of the fruit, and it has to remind you the fruit, of course, for first. After that, in a good aging, you can have some tertiar, something that comes from the aging, and this could be some spices. You can feel something that it's more typical in more minerals, something that comes from the time. You have some good oxidation in wine that it gives the beauty of the good aging. It's like with what happened with us. We need also to age in the good way. If you are aging in the good way, if you have 40, 50, 70 or 99, It's always nice.
But sadly, we cannot.
But you have to be. You have
we
to
can,
be in a
we
certain
cannot
mood.
hide in a Riedel glass. That's sadly because you mentioned, and this is something which is happening in the industry. Before we were exposed to Corona and the lockdowns in restaurants, the sommeliers were always putting certain aged white wines, being it Grüner Veltliner, being it a Riesling, all of a sudden, because it has this kind of beautiful minerality, most of these wines are also exposed to wood, to oak. All of a sudden, the sommelier started to pour these wines. And you said France, you said Burgundy. Burgundy is, when it comes to white wine, Chardonnay. So this is what I did now. Instead of using our Malvazija glass, I put your Santa Lucia 2016 into our Chardonnay Montrachet glass, recommended by the sommeliers, and I have to say, forget about it. Good. The sommelier is also not always right. Good. So in this case, and this is what I like about our glass, Franco and Tomislav, no matter how the Malvazija is made, no matter how old the Malvazija is, this is the shape for it. This is the glass. So it's not that the age changes or the oak changes. It's the DNA of the grape variety that determines the shape of the glass. So for me, a big mistake, and here's a call out to all the sommeliers around the world who think that certain white wines, just because they are either in oak or were in oak or they're old, they should go in a big glass. Just the opposite, actually. The older the wine, the smaller the glass has to become, same as with Bordeaux. Young, tight wines need to have, with lots of alcohol, they need the big glass. But the older the wine gets, the smaller the glass. But in this case, this magical tool, as you call it, this instrument, is doing a fine job, showing us the brilliance of your wines, Franco. And I believe, Tomislav, the brilliance of all the wines, all the Malvazija Istrianas made in Croatia, because it was many of them who
we have some of them here. I wanted to
show us. Yes.
Because there are many winemakers that were included in this project and that helped us. First of all, Moreno Coronica, who was one of the initiators of the project. Franz Arman, we had our third workshop there. Franko Radovan, Ivica Matošević, he was also present in Kufstein on our first tasting. Sui, we had a beautiful dinner at his place with your father there.
Beautiful.
It was lasting for a long, long time. You were there also, I think, yeah. Benvenuti, he's now president of Vinistra, of the winemakers. Many of them more. I don't have time and place to show them all, but all the Eastern winemakers helped in this project, and this is the glass that is created for them. And this is a very good project that we are very proud of and very happy that we finished it. Also, what I would like to mention here, that one more thing that we are very proud of, and you will say more about it, that this glass became worldwide popular, because the same tasting that we did when we were searching the right wine glass for Malvazija, you did in Austria and New Zealand, if I'm right, when you were searching for the glass for Sauvignon Blanc. You had the Sauvignon Blanc glass, but you wanted to make sure if it is still the best one for the Sauvignon Blanc. And it turned out that Malvazija glass was the best for Sauvignon, and today it's all around the world by the name of Sauvignon.
This is correct. So just to give you a little insight, so a few years back, I was traveling to Styria, Steiermark in Austria, and we were looking for unoaked Sauvignon Blanc, the proper glass, the proper messenger. And on the same day, on the other side of the world in New Zealand, our local subsidiary manager for New Zealand, Mark Boulderstone, did the same with the wine producers of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. So we did 2 workshops where we had, I think, 12 or 15 white wine glasses, tasting with the Austrian Sauvignon Blanc producers from Styria and with the Sauvignon Blanc producers from New Zealand. And all together chose the Malvazija glass to be actually the proper shape to showcase Sauvignon Blanc at its very best. So this, of course, is something which is spectacular. Still, I would say that alone in Croatia, we have sold more than 80,000 glasses of this Malvazija glass, which is thanks to the support of the winemakers and dominated by Miva, who does a great job in supporting us. So I believe that whoever travels to Croatia gets to taste Malvazija Istriana at its best from the proper glass, thanks to the both of you. And thanks to all the producers that you just mentioned, Tomislav. We are here to serve the wine industry. We are here to support. Our goal is wherever you are, you must enjoy your wine at the very best. And for that, you need the right tool. You need friends and family to share. You need the best winemakers to produce, but you also need the best tool to enjoy, to unlock the secrets that all the wines carry in themselves.
Yeah, I don't know how much time do we have. I have also one nice story. When you mentioned the traveling through Istria and tasting the wines here, there was soon after we produced the glass, one journalist from New York Times came to Croatia, to Istria. He was doing some article about Istrian wines, about Istrian gastronomy, and he found this Malvazija glass in some of the cellars. And so when he came back to the States, he wanted to buy it. So he called Riedel USA. They told him we don't have that glass. Called in Kufstein. They called Kufstein. They told him we don't have that glass. Called Croatia. So he called us. He said, I need to have this glass. It's a beautiful glass. I need to have it. I said, okay, but the shipping cost will be more than the glass itself. He said, doesn't matter. I need to have it. Please invoice me everything. So we shipped him, I don't know, a few cases of the Malvazija glass to United States. And he was happy to share them with his friends. And it's amazing how he was so in love with the glass that he made all these steps just to get it. So
beautiful. Yeah.
we are also very happy. We are also happy that it suits well for sparkling wines as well, because more than 10 years ago, we started to tell to the restaurant owners that the flute glass doesn't work for champagnes. It's absolutely no taste, no smell, only the bubbles. And this glass is very good for sparkling wines as well, because it's thin enough to show the bubbles, but also it is wide enough to give you some aromas. So this is a multifunctional glass, and again, we are proud of it, and proud of all that we did with your father and with you. For a small country like ours, it's a great thing.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for this wonderful feedback. Franco, thank you for sharing your wines. Congratulations, delicious. I would hope that we can have them all over the world and have access, but we have learned that the production is small and that people love to enjoy the wines locally. Tomislav, we have to say goodbye. The time is running up. How do you say cheers in Croatian?
Živjeli.
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 Thank you so much. Chin chin.
Chin, chin,
Salute.
chin.
Thank you. Stay healthy, everybody out there. I would like to thank all the listeners from around the world, Brazil to Colombia. I've seen so many flags. Thank you so much for joining us. We have learned a lot, gentlemen, about Croatia, the people of Croatia, and the wonderful wines. If people want to learn more, they have to visit Croatia.
Of course.
For good motivation. Good.
Thank you for joining us in this project.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Bye.
Salute. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Cheers.